Okay, so today we're going to really dig into this idea of grit.
Mm-hmm.
And we've got a whole bunch of research and articles and stuff to go through.
Right.
And I'm actually pretty excited about it.
Yeah.
Because I don't know about you, but I'm kind of fascinated by those people who just seem to like power through anything, no matter what.
Totally. And it's not just like, this rah-rah, like motivational stuff either.
Yeah.
This is like real science.
Yeah,
It's a deep dive.
We're talking about the psychology of grit, how it works.
Exactly.
And how we can maybe, get a little bit more of it ourselves.
Yeah.
So one of the things that really struck me in all this reading was this quote.
Okay.
They described grit as like the relentless drive to pursue your goals with passion and perseverance, no matter how daunting the obstacles.
I like that.
Right.
Yeah.
But then there's this other thing that kind of goes along with it, which is this idea that grit isn't really about talent or luck. It's almost like it's saying it doesn't matter if you're like the gifted kid or if you just get all the breaks.
Yeah.
What really matters is this grit thing.
Absolutely.
So I'm kind of curious, what do you think about that? How does this whole grit thing challenge the way we usually think about success?
I think it's a really important point because we often think about success as being tied to, like you said, inherent talent or being in the right place at the right time.
Right, the lucky breaks.
Yeah, but what the research is showing is that grit can actually level the playing field.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So it doesn't matter if you're not the most naturally gifted person or if you haven't had all the advantages in life.
Right.
Grit can help you overcome those obstacles and achieve amazing things.
That's pretty cool.
It is.
So I'm thinking like when you look at people who have achieved incredible things, like I'm thinking like Michael Jordan or like Oprah Winfrey.
Sure.
Do you think they were just born with this like grit gene or something?
Well, I don't think there's a specific grit gene.
Okay.
But I think that they definitely developed and cultivated grit over time.
Yeah.
Like you take Michael Jordan, for example. He was famously cut from his high school basketball team.
Wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah. And that could have been a devastating setback.
Okay.
But instead, he used it as fuel to work even harder.
Oh, I see.
And he eventually became one of the greatest basketball players of all time.
Right.
So I think that's a great example of how grit can help you overcome adversity.
It is.
And achieve at a really high level.
So it's not just about like, pushing through it when things are tough.
Right.
It's also about this inner belief.
Exactly.
You can actually do it.
Yeah, that's a big part of it.
Okay, so how do we get that?
Well, that's the million-dollar question, right?
Right.
But luckily, there are some things that the research suggests we can do to develop our own grit.
Okay, like that.
Well, one of the most important things is to set clear and meaningful goals that really resonate with you.
Right.
Because if you're not passionate about what you're working towards, it's going to be a lot harder to persevere when things get tough.
Totally makes sense.
And then it's important to break those goals down into smaller, manageable steps.
Okay.
Because trying to tackle a huge goal all at once can be really overwhelming.
Yeah, for sure.
But if you break it down into smaller chunks, it feels a lot more achievable.
I like that.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know how people say you eat an elephant one bite at a time?
Exactly.
It's kind of like that.
It is exactly like that.
Right. You just break it down into smaller pieces.
And each time you achieve one of those smaller steps, you get a little boost of confidence.
Okay.
And that helps you keep going.
So it's almost like building momentum.
Right. It's like a snowball effect.
I like that.
Yeah.
So what about those times when you hit a wall and you just feel like giving up?
Yeah, that's going to happen.
Right.
It's inevitable. But what separates gritty people from non-gritty people is how they respond to those setbacks.
Okay.
So instead of seeing a failure as a sign that they should give up, they see it as an opportunity to learn and grow.
Okay.
And they use that experience to come back even stronger.
So it's like that whole growth mindset thing.
Exactly.
Where you're not afraid to make mistakes.
Right.
Because that's how you learn.
Exactly. And that's a really important part of developing grit.
Okay, so I'm starting to see this kind of like a recipe for success here.
Yeah, I like that analogy.
Right. Like you've got your passion. That's like the fuel that keeps you going.
Yeah.
Then you've got your perseverance. That's like the engine that keeps you moving forward.
Okay.
And then you've got your resilience.
Yes.
That's like the shock absorbers that help you bounce back from the bumps in the road.
I like that.
And then, of course, you've got your growth mindset. That's like the GPS that helps you navigate the challenges along the way. And all of that together, that's grit.
That's grit.
So we've learned a lot about grit.
We have.
What it is, why it's important,
and
even some tips on how to develop it.
Right.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, what's like the one thing you would want our listener to take away from all of this?
Well, I would say the most important thing is to remember that grit is not something you're born with. It's something you can develop.
Okay.
And it's something that will benefit you in all areas of your life.
Right.
Not just in achieving your goals, but also in your relationships, your health, your overall well-being.
Wow. That's pretty powerful.
It is.
So if you're looking for a way to become more resilient, more successful, and more fulfilled, developing your grit is a great place to start.
Couldn't agree more.
Awesome. Well, thanks for joining me on this deep dive into grit.
My pleasure.
And for all of you listening out there, keep on gritting.
Keep on gritting.
We'll see you next time.
See you later.